Hey everybody, Steve from the Pinball Room. Thanks for joining today. I think it's going to be a fun one. Been making some really good progress, so I'm getting really excited. There's a chance we'll have something that could be fun to play at this show here in June. Either way, we're still making good progress, all right? So this is the state of the playfield right now. The last video you saw, we got all the ball guides updated. They're not final. There's still a couple of janky bends here and there, but they're what we need to be able to go through and get for some real playtesting finally, right? So we've got our shot to go back to the starter lane. We've got the orbits. Everything's running nice and smooth. We got our spinner in place. Everything's good. So now it's time to finish assembling everything else, okay? Which means, what are we missing? We're missing the ramps. We're missing the upper playfield. We're missing this ramp over here. We're missing the whole little system to catch the ball behind and bring it around on this side. So I've got some updated parts. Let's put them in. Let's see if they work. They probably won't be quite right, but they should be pretty close. And if I need to iterate, then I'll just pause, print out some new ones, and we'll come back. But all right, so first thing first, the one that I've been most anxious about getting right is this ramp, this super steep left ramp, which I still have my doubts if it's too steep. I wonder. I don't know. I think it's going to work. I haven't gotten rid of this whole like curly Q, S-curve, circular ramp thing. I could easily just make it be something that just goes, you know, that comes up and just like comes whoop, straight back down onto the playfield right there. Nice and boring, but it's kind of boring. Sometimes you want something that kind of has the ball go for a spin that you can watch and kick the ball up there. It'll take a minute to come down while you're playing with a million of other balls in multi-ball. Anyway, I'm trying to make it work. The problem I've ran into with all these other ones is it's coming down below the side of the playfield here. I'm not sure how well you can see that. I'll zoom in the frame for a minute. But right now it's kind of sitting on the side rail. But as soon as I kind of push it in where it wants to go, it falls down below it, okay? You might be thinking, cool, what's the big deal? Well, when you get a ball going up and going around, it comes through itself just fine, right? But if you come around the orbit, the ball hits the ramp. The ramp's a little too low. You go, Steve, I saw in other videos you had this working fine. Well, I had a little nub here keeping it up on the side rail. And I didn't necessarily want to have something like screwed into my side rail here. I wanted to find another way to get it to go up. So I adjusted it a little bit and I tried to get it to where it was a little bit tighter in here. Woo. So it was this piece. This piece had too much of a drop. And so it was coming down and there's a lot bigger gap here than what there needed to be. So I reprinted this piece. Okay. I also made it shorter because this one, if you could see, it was dropping the ball. Let me get it all in here now. I do love these little quick snap together things though. So it's dropping the ball like right here at the bend, almost immediately. I wanted to come out just a little bit earlier. So we got rid of that piece, got a new piece. And I tried going through and figuring out a way to get this to stay up. I tried putting like a post right in here and it kind of worked, but this is kind of this angled edge here, so it kept just like making this side stay up and the other side go down. It wasn't working. Putting a post in there didn't work. So I've come back around to, I've got a piece that is exactly the width of the side rail. It's probably just going to need to get screwed into the side rail. Where'd my ball go? But now we can go up. We come out early enough to hit the rail, and then ball's coming around. Yes! All right. I'm going to call that a win. So we are going to screw that in place. All right, and I might need a pilot hole for that. There we go. Success. All right, now for the next one. This ramp over here. This ramp, if you remember, was going to go to this big diverter, which I need to reassemble, and then kick the ball either to the right. It was going to go through this back box, have this special diverter, a little kinetic diverter, so you wouldn't know which way it was going. You wouldn't be able to see it. Either bring the ball along a habit trail back to your right flipper, or it would kick it all the way around behind and bring it down here. Well, in the recent videos, I got some good feedback about my upper play field and about it being kind of hard to get up there and kind of hard to stay up there. And a couple of good comments were made about maybe you need another way to get to the play field versus just the stairs. The stairs can be a big fun way to get up there and start a multi-ball, but maybe you need another way to get up there like during multi-ball or even before perhaps. So all that led me to believe that you guys were right. I felt like once you're in multi-ball, you have to try to fill the stairs up, get all the way up. Like I want to make it easier to get up to the upper play field so we can use the upper play field a little bit more. So basically I went through and I shortened this ramp. So instead of it going through the back box like it was before, now it's going to be shorter and it's going to stay in front of the back box. And instead of going behind the back box, it's going to divert onto the upper play field. So I think that's going to work. I need to get a post in back there, but first I need to get the upper play field back in to see if that's going to line up. I already see this is where my post is, dang it. So I made this come up in front of the back box, right? And I've got a nub here, so I'm going to put a post like this. It should be able to be the same height. Okay, back here in this corner. But I haven't screwed it in yet because one of the things I'm not sure about, see, this has hit my post. So that's not going to be right. I need to make this either a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. I need to make this just a little bit longer. Do I have a longer one of these? Here, this guy's a little longer. Let's try him. Oh, might be too long. There we go. It's a little bit too long with that nub now. All right, but something like this. All right, so this is going to come up onto that upper play field is the idea. This little piece here is hopefully going to wrap around the edge of the wood, and that way the ball can come up and go right onto the upper play field or go down the habit trail. Whew. Trying to get that just right. So let's try out the diverter. So if you remember the diverter, I was having problems with it working consistently. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And it was like kind of the sometimes, and now it's working okay. But like, it'll go like that sometimes, right? So I realized, let me take this off for you. Realized what I did wrong. So I realized that I created my diverter mech wrong. And specifically this piece here, the actual diverter itself. So I was trying to find a way to where this could rotate enough, right? Like I'm pretty close, right? That way it can only go one direction, right? It can come up here and it's got to rotate and go here. And then with this one, it's got to come up here and rotate there. And that's not totally incorrect. And it works partially. But I think the reason why it doesn't work well enough is because I have these two arms here pointing down. And what they need to be doing is pointing up more. So when the ball comes in, like right now, when the ball comes up, it comes up in here and it fits in there so well, but it basically just gets held there. And this arm that's now facing forward is basically blocking the ball and trapping the ball. So what I need is for this arm, instead of coming back forward and kind of like creating a cradle for it that catches it, I need to have this one be coming back and going this way and allowing the ball, yes, to still not have a direct, smooth, straight path, but right now the ball is trying to hit this arm in front of this point of rotation here. What I need to do is have it come down and actually be hitting it even with it or slightly afterwards. So the ball has already gone past it, is already able to go past it, and as it goes past it the rest of the way, it just pushes and brings this thing around. So this whole thing is fine, but this whole thing actually needs to come further forward so I have room for, so instead of it being something that's facing down like this, I need those things on the end to be facing up the other direction, okay? Not like this, but like that. So the ball's coming along my arm. Instead of it getting, caught on one side, it needs to hit, but to still be able to go past. A good example is on Guns N' Roses and pretty much almost any other diverter out there. I felt like the one for the shadow was kind of like this, but the thing is, one with the shadow is not a kinetic one. It's not being controlled by the momentum of the ball. It's actually a powered diverter. That brings us to another point. So I realize I need to iterate on the shape of that diverter if I'm just going to be using the energy, the kinetic energy of the ball to have it divert its path one way or the other. But now that I'm contemplating, and I feel pretty certain about the idea of having this actually be another path up to the upper play field, I kind of feel like instead of this just being a random kinetic diverter, I feel like this probably needs to be a controlled diverter, a controlled gate that's controlled by software. So it's mechanically or electronically controlled. Instead of just being whichever direction the ball happens to be going randomly, I think we need to control it so that most of the time it's just going to be going around to the right, but then when we want to make it to where you can get up to the upper play field, you can go over here. I feel like that's because your very first multi-ball, I kind of feel like, the staircase is the central mech, and clearly that's how you get to the upper play field. So if you right out of the gate have, or I can just hit this ramp and get up there, like most of the time, like, well, why do I even bother with the stairs? I have to fill them, and I feel like it defeats the purpose. It's too redundant. It's just like, well, I don't need the stairs at all. I can just get to the upper play field through the ramp. So I think I'm going to change this, and the good thing is there's room right below this underneath, just barely, but I think there's room. Oh, I don't know. It's going to be tight. But I got to see if I can fit another coil under here that can rotate this, a small coil or a servo or something that will allow me to rotate this and turn this one way or the other. And that way it can be closed until you've unlocked it. Or maybe like when you're on multi-ball and we're wanting to get back up to the upper play field quick, that's the way to get up there and keep going versus having to fill the stairs. But so I've got to think through the modes, the game modes a little bit, and the code and how and when that would make sense to allow that. But I think that's what I need to do. For right now, for June, I'm going to go through, I'm going to reprint this piece again. I'm going to reprint this piece to be the right length. And I'm going to change this guy to be the right shape. So I'm going to need to go do that right now. So what do we have left? Well, we have this part. So since the diverter isn't going through the back box anymore, well, I still have the upper play field and I still have balls going behind it that need to get caught. So I have a new set of trays with a very high back that can go back here, have the ball come through and catch the ball. So I'm fairly confident about these being able to work. I've changed up this design a little bit on this one. I've added this extra piece of plastic here because I thought about it. It's like, if I have these back here, I can have it anchored on this side, okay? And then I have this one anchored on here, but in the middle, the ball comes through and hits it, it's gonna break it apart. So I'm hoping that extra piece of plastic there will help kind of reinforce it. But my thought being, this will go together. I can even put like a little bit of super glue in there if I want, make it more permanent. And then we have a piece to return the balls to the field. And this has another spot for some screws to anchor. That one goes together nicely. So I'm gonna hope that go through. There we go. Ah, are you seeing what I'm seeing? This was not quite long enough, I don't think. It's very possible the ball might get stuck there. The ball could come out. Oh, that's right. This spot for the ball is not quite tall enough. All right. So I was a little off on my measurement for this hole. I went a little low. I've got a gap here underneath it. And I need to have that a little higher. So I was off on my hole. I just need to come up a little bit higher. So yes, we will need to correct that. Let's get the upper playfield on and see how all that kind of fits in though. Make sure there's not anything else that I'm missing or forgetting. Oh yeah, I'm way low over here. All right, this one needs to be a little bit longer. Probably a bit of an angle here. Either way. And then this hole needs to come up on the back box. We're close, we're very close. So I'm gonna make this hole a little bigger here, a little taller for us. And yeah, that's really the main thing for this one is all I think we need. Oh, and this piece needs to come out a little bit longer. So we'll make this a little bit longer and we'll improve that hole there. All right. All right. Let's see if this works now. Nice. Okay. So this hole's in the right spot now. I just need to get this piece a little bit longer and we'll be good. All right, new day. Part printed overnight. Longer, it's got an angle. We'll see how close that lines up. Hoping it's good. Oh, look at that. Almost perfect. Do you see that? Look how that comes. It's like, there's a wire form, but it's not screwed in. Once I screw it in against the wood tight, boop, it's like perfect. Doesn't necessarily cover the whole wire form, or the ball guide there, but it still rests on it. I'm very pleased with that. Very happy. All right, let's screw that in. Yeah. There we go. Now we come up here and we're hitting some shots. Oh yeah. Like a dream. Look at that. Whoa. Let's say we hit it really hard. Stays together. Oh, the ball got stuck in between. I keep missing. All right, so here's the thing we just discovered. If I hit it super hard, it can come back and actually kind of get stuck in between here. I have an idea. I think we take this inside edge here of these pieces and add just a little bit of an angled lip to it. So I had to stand it off this way to clear the back of the screws of the stand-up targets. But if I had there be just a little bit of an angled lip coming back in kind of towards it, that way if the ball does happen to bounce back, it'll hit that lip and then roll back in. Yeah. More 3D printing. Good thing the filament isn't too much money, huh? I've been going through a lot. Just went through another spool last night. All right, still, we're like, ooh, so close. All right, so while the new versions of those are printing off, like 3 hours to print each one, that's gonna take most of the day. So while those are running, last night we went through and printed off the new diverter piece and the new diverter. Yeah. So we're going for that angled shape now. And let's cross our fingers that it works. It's kind of working. I don't know if it's really working a whole lot better. I feel like lots of times it hits it and then it bounces back to where it's still going to go the same direction again afterwards, right? It comes up, goes this way, and then the thing still bounces back to where it was. Still not quite doing what I want it to do. I don't know, maybe I just need to go straight to a coil activated one. That's what I think I want to do in the end, but I want to get this to work. I don't necessarily want to give up on it. Erg. I don't know, I'm going to explore and see if there's room to get a coil or something underneath to control the movement. This is the room I have to play with. Not enough room for a flipper mech of any sort. So I don't think there's room for a flipper mech. It'd be really tight, and I don't need the power and strength of a flipper mech. I just need this similar action here, right? There's got to be a way I can do this simpler. I just need this bushing to be in place through the play field, right? And then I need those two pieces. And I can use a much smaller coil. And then I just need these brackets to hold it onto the play field is all. What if we just built our own little mech that was smaller than a flipper coil, but had a lot of the same parts? What about that? So what if instead of this full-size flipper mech, what if we made our own miniature flipper mech that did fit down here? We can take a lower power coil, because we don't need this big flip strength, right? We've got coil stops, right? We take the same like armature, right? That gives us the same type of hinge, same type of hinge points, right? And then we just need one of these plastic bushings, which we have. We take a plastic bushing, okay? Hook that up into it. Drill this through, connect each of these. Still going to take up space, but it doesn't need to be as big as this big brick. I think we can make that work. So if we take this mech and rotate it over here, and then do something like this. Look at that. We've got our own miniature flipper mech right there. Okay, lower power coil. That's all we need. Now I just need a long rod that can act as our flipper. Now I had to move him over, which means I need to reroute the bracket for this. Means I need to take off the subway, move all that around. I just need to adjust the subway a little bit for that clearance, but it's all right. It's not a big difference, it's just more things to 3D print. Okay, well, we went down a different path than what I was thinking. I thought we'd just get that simple little diverter working, but I think this is going to be a lot better. That way it can be all software controlled, right? We can make sure it stays going down here, except for when we want it to go to the upper play field. Yeah, that's going to be better. All we got to do is adjust the subway, wire up another coil, but we're getting so close. I keep saying that. Always one more thing, right? Always one more thing. So we'll get this with like a mini flipper of some sort, and these will be just about done. So we're going to need to go through and print out another one of these guys that's a little bit longer. So this is all the way up here against the end. This will need to be printed out to where it has the right size hole for the shaft for the diverter we're going to do, and these will probably need to adjust a little bit where they are. So print out a couple more of those. Those two are already being printed off. At least this guy's final. This guy's been working like a champ, so that's good. So we're back. Another day, another round of 3D prints. But we've got one that should finally work. This is like my third one, so I've kind of checked and double checked measurements. The length has changed a little bit. I've changed this. Instead of this being a nut that's going to have a post holding it up, this is just going straight into the back of the back box. I don't remember if I mentioned that the other day or not, but so this is going to slide into this little hole back here, and that is what will kind of, you know, provide this support from this side. That between that and these pieces for the ramp. Boom. That should be pretty sturdy. And then this is all going to come up onto the play field, which I took off because I was messing with the ball guys a little bit again. In the last video you saw that. I went through and replaced this one out to now just being a single piece of metal instead of kind of the two janky ones, so it's a little bit better. But that's neither here nor there. So this is all going to go in there, and then I'm using these mini flipper bats that I got off Pinball Life. This is like from The Simpsons. I hate that they're yellow. I have not been able to find anybody that has white ones in stock. So for now, we're gonna have a yellow one here. But that's gonna slide down and be here in the back, and that's gonna be our diverter. So it would normally be like this, where the ball will always go to the right, or around the right side back to the right flipper. but then when we want to, we'll be able to open it up and the ball will come onto the upper play field. Like during multi-ball and whatever else we feel like it makes sense to have a shortcut up to the upper play field. Okay, so I think that's going to work out really good. All right, so we've got a mess of wires here, right? But basically, I took this flipper and I rotated it up a little bit. We took this bracket and we flipped it around also. We adjusted the subway a little bit. That was already all shown to you, right? And that allowed us to put in our own little flipper mech down here to be our diverter coil. Okay, it will allow this to turn just enough to open and close the gate. And the post comes down through here. Right, like so. Let me line it up again. Boop. There we go. This is actually a long one. It's going to come down quite a bit fast, and that's how we'll turn it. So from that, ta-da, that means we are done with all of our ramps. This guy will go here, okay? And then you already saw the ones for the back. So yeah, there we are. All of them working just like they should. All comes up, comes to the upper play field. All comes up here, loops around. Yay! All right. Between that and the tray we had going around the back, you saw earlier, that's been working really good. We've got all of our ramps all set up, ready to go. The last thing now that I'm needing to do, last thing, I'm so funny. Not even close to the last thing, but one of the next things I need to do is I need to adjust the stepper motor mount here underneath, the aluminum mount that came with it. It's sinking this down below the playfield about a ½ inch, and so I'm going to come up with a new 3D printed mount that'll hug it up right up against the playfield and close that gap as much as possible. We might have to cut down the wood there a little bit in the final version so it really sits up snug where it needs to be. That'll make us adjust the point of where this axle is back here to being a little bit higher perhaps than before, but yeah, we're getting there. We're getting close. One more step closer. So there you go. That's a long video, all the final tweaks and everything we made to the ramps, but I think they're going to be good to go now. Might throw in a little bit of super glue on a couple of these connections just to make sure they stay in nice and tight. Same with back here for when the ball's in the back. But otherwise, yeah, feeling pretty good about where we've ended up. So still got to print out the ramp mold here also for this guy. So all right. On to the next thing though. Thanks for watching, guys. Like always, hope it's been enjoyable. It is April 30th at the date of this recording. And so 1 month until the show. Woo, lots to do. Okay, catch you around, guys. Thanks for watching. See you, bye-bye.